Hello and welcome to Win Stupid Prizes, the show where we ask the questions that nobody thought were worth asking. My name's Eddie, and I'm joined today by three bananas that I really ought to throw out. And they are Jamie.
Oh, I thought I was green because I was ripe, not because I was rotting.
Whoa. Bear.
I might be slippy, but I've got a peel.
And our judge this week is Alex.
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
Alright, before you lot all go off, Alex, what question have you got for us today?
So, we're all great at nitpicking about how crazy films are.
Uh-huh.
Assuming that all films are real, which actor would have the craziest life?
Ooh.
So the actor's the same person in all of it's a through line.
Yeah, it's a through line.
A fictional actor.
A fictional actor.
Probably the Bard.
Wait, crap, I need to look up all the films that have in-universe films happen in them. Oh, no.
John Malkovich is the correct answer. Congratulations. That was a great episode.
Speaking of being John Malkovich, I actually do have someone, an actor, who is part of a universe, and in this universe, now that all films are real, there's a doorway to John Malkovich's brain.
Is it John Malkovich?
It is not John Malkovich, it's somebody. I'll tell you a little bit about what she's been through, okay?
Okay,
Sure.
alright.
First, she was dead. She was petrified. She went to school. She met a creepy dude.
She died? Met a creepy... Okay.
She got bitten by Dracula.
Okay.
I think I know where this is going.
And then she met some aliens. And then some other things happened. I don't even know about the rest of them.
Like, quick, look at her filmography. Find out what
And I think Star Trek is real as well.
Space, ghosts, death, aliens.
Yeah, all this stuff. And it turns out she was dead the whole time.
she starts dead.
That's actually was Bruce Willis the whole time.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it's the sixth then.
Yes, this is Bruce Willis.
Wait, Rip.
I can tell you a little bit more about this person and what happens to her and the things I've talked about, okay? Back when she dies, she accidentally meets a giant sandworm
Okay.
We all do.
and goes to space.
Right, gotcha.
Any ideas?
I haven't seen any films, so I can't tell you.
The only film I know with giant sandworm and the... I don't want to say lead female actor, but like the one that was most advertised was Zendaya.
No, it's Beetlejuice.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's the weird... So this is Winona Ryder, right?
Yeah, Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Oh!
There are some other famous movies about Winona Ryder, but she has like a real chunk of time of just absolute cult hits.
Ah, good choice picker, like a actor who's been around for a little while. Had time to be in lots of stuff.
Yeah, that's how you get a crazy life.
Yeah, so Beetlejuice starts dead. Just turns out you were dead the whole time. You meet a bunch of weird other people in the dead world.
Wait, she's not dead in Beetlejuice. She's the kid. The adults are dead. She's alive.
She's alive!
Oh, well, that
Okay, I
makes
was
sense.
totally wrong.
Okay, so that's that. We've already solved one of your
Does she
problems.
even meet... She doesn't even meet the sandworms then, does she? It's the adults who meet the sandworms.
You were thinking that she was playing one of the adults who are ghosts.
Yeah, no, I just mixed up the whole story.
No, she's the teen who summons Beetlejuice.
She does do some levitating dancing though, right? Is that because the ghost adults become her parents or something?
Yeah, she gets adopted by them, doesn't she?
Yeah, something like that.
She's adopted by ghosts. Okay.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, let's start the whole episode again then.
Power on through.
Gets adopted by ghosts.
Yeah. So she gets adopted by a ghost, and then she goes to school, right?
Okay.
And she finds out that the group of the popular girls think that actually she belongs with them now that she has these cool ghost parents. And so they murder everyone at school.
What?
I'm going to admit, I don't know her filmography very well. I do not know what you're referencing for this second one.
That is Heathers.
Oh, she's in Heathers.
She's the main character in Heathers, I believe. She's the non-Heather Heather.
What?
So the three girls of the Heathers are Heathers, and they're the popular kids, and they meet Veronica, and they're like, you should be one of us.
But you do have to change your name.
Now, I may have mixed that up with the other person's friend, but anyway, I know a lot of people die in that movie.
Okay, she wants all of her schoolmates to meet her parents, so starts killing them.
Yeah, kills them all. Then they cut together all the body parts of her schoolmates and make a boyfriend, but accidentally...
Wait.
Yeah, accidentally he's got spatulas or something for hands.
Yeah, Edward Scissorhands, right, okay.
Some kind of kitchen equipment.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
and then she got bitten by Dracula, you said?
Yeah, then she's in Dracula.
Right, okay.
And then a bit later, I don't know the rest of these films on this list, but then Alien Resurrection, Girl Interrupted being John Malkovich.
And Little Women.
She's in a lot of horror stuff.
So Abigail Williams, who she played, was like the first person to like accuse everyone of the Salem witch trials. So she's also responsible for all the Salem witch trials.
Oh, what an absolute champion.
Incredible. The dream.
Wait, but that means that bit has to happen first, because the Salem witch trials are long before Beetlejuice.
It might be a bit of a mess.
Time is weird.
Everything's a bit of a mess.
Oh, no, because it doesn't happen to happen first, because then she's in Star Trek, and we know time travel happens in Star Trek.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that
good point.
solves everything. Got it.
She's also in enough movies where people come back from the dead for the time really not to matter in the order of things.
Ah, right, yes. That makes sense.
Does she have parents in any of the films other than the one where they're ghosts?
Probably.
Because if not, that's a clean tie right there.
Probably canonically, but I don't know.
Fair enough.
So she's in Simone, which was a pretty mediocre sci-fi film, right?
I have no idea.
I think she's like an android cyborg woman, and she's the first one to like develop feelings. But she's a pop star? Is that Simone?
that helps you bridge the gap between a bunch of the movies, because now, like, the different changes can be sort of ascribed to being an android that you can change or modify in some way.
I was going to make this argument a bit in a different way, because what role does she play in Dracula?
She is Mina.
Is she the one that gets bit or not?
Mina's the one who gets bit second and doesn't fully fall.
Yeah, she's the one who like becomes Dracula Hunter.
Okay, but does she become a vampire, I guess is the question I'm trying to ask.
No, I don't think he gets to complete this.
Because that would be really handy for living a long time.
I think it's a little wibbly wobbly.
Mina doesn't get the sequence completed, I don't think. It's her friend who does.
Okay.
I think she gets like some of the links of like maybe some kind of psychic link between her and Dracula.
She does, yeah.
Right, okay.
So she can use it against him.
Right, but then she may gain some of the vampire abilities, which might help her live a long time to hit the sci-fi film and therefore go back in time.
Maybe.
To then do the Salem witch trials. I know she's a witch because I'm psychic.
Well, that's the thing as well. So in Simone, she is literally in universe. So you know all this stuff is true. She is also an actress because apparently Simone, the cyborg, it's a robot created to be in movies.
Oh, that's fun.
And the director is trying to keep that a secret and be like, here's my superstar. I didn't create it.
Huh.
How could I create a person?
Have you accidentally just made Winona Ryder's life make far too much sense?
Yeah.
Because you could just be an android that's in a lot of films.
Look, just because it makes sense doesn't... No, because all the stuff is still actually happening, right? The only film is in Simone. The rest of it's all actually happening.
Right. I see. Okay.
It's like, hey, here is this super android that I've made to deal with ghosts, aliens, undead, all of this stuff, and also it's going to do movies when it's not doing that stuff.
And that's why Dracula gets Mina's friend, does both parts of the process and vamps her, and then gets to Mina, does the first process, bites, and goes, wait, metal, I can't bite this, and therefore never finishes the process.
I don't like your oil!
Yeah.
The other thing I've realized, so in The Boys, the superhero thing, one of the things in universe is basically the company that owns them makes tons of movies. They have their whole universe of like these superhero movies with the real superheroes coming in to star in them. So basically
cool.
Marvel is also running a paramilitary operation with their stars. And that's basically what's happening to Winona Ryder.
That's kind of cool.
Can you explain her love affair with Edward Scissorhands?
Edward Scissorhands was a very sweet and troubled boy.
Say no more. I'm attracted.
I mean, being an AI who was created just to be in movies and save the world, right? She actually has a lot in common with Edward Scissorhands and can see his struggles.
Yeah.
And he's being targeted from outside in the same way that she was when she was a lonely child with ghost parents and then first being, like, partially bullied by the Heathers.
Yeah, okay.
It also kind of makes sense if she's an android that the scissor hands aren't as big a problem because she's part robot.
Clank. It's like, oh, let's do some wholesome hand holding. It's just the metal on metal noises.
Yeah, it's actually fine.
Yeah, that's true. No, her whole thing is like, hey, I know how to cover up the robot parts. Let me make you some, like, hand gloves for your scissors.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure that Edward Scissorhands might star later without Scissorhands.
Ooh, spoilers.
So, there's also, I keep seeing on this list now that I'm looking at, I keep seeing mermaids, and I don't know what the movie Mermaids is, but I assume it's got mermaids and she's a mermaid?
And we do know so much about movies.
Yeah.
I know, I've seen it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
So I think Winona Ryder's cool. She's been in some really fun and cool movies, and she's got a lot of weird things going on. You know, the classic aliens, monsters, history, future, sci-fi, dancing.
Morbid, gothic things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everywhere. Covers a lot of bases.
And it's funny that being an android really helps tie a lot of them together.
Yeah. So you bring up Edward Scissorhands, and we all know that he gets over the Scissorhands thing later in life.
Does he?
Yeah, of course, because one of my choices is someone who might have met him at another point in his life. Maybe multiple times, actually. So this person that Edward Scissorhands meets later on is a lovely lady by the name of Helena Bonham Carter.
Ah.
Okay.
You see, Scissorhands opens a barbershop above a pie shop, and she runs the pie shop. And they go into business together.
And it's a very wholesome business.
That makes a lot of sense for Edward.
Yeah, he can just chop all the hair, he's good with blades, and source of meat for the pies.
When you said he doesn't have scissor hands anymore, you mean he's figured out how to wear gloves so it doesn't look like he has scissor hands, but he still very much has scissors.
Yeah, and then he goes to do the barbering, pulls the glove off. And,
Good.
That's why he's such a good barber.
One of his lines is, "At last my arm is complete again."
Yeah.
When he's got his razors back.
Got his scissors back. Yeah. So, of course, Helena has had many other phases to her life. I'm just going to go over a few of them. I don't quite have an order. If you want to help me out informing what order she did these things in, please do, because I'm clueless. She's been multiple members of nobility and royalty, notably our late Queen Elizabeth's mother.
Okay.
The wife of the previous monarch of the UK. In my life, we called her the Queen Mother. You know, Queen Elizabeth, but not Queen Elizabeth II, I guess I should say. She's also been the Red Queen, where she met Edward Scissorhands again, but he's wearing a funny hat.
Oh, yeah.
And she had a big head. Maybe the big head comes last, because she has to grow the big head separately. I don't know. Fun times. You get to be an evil witch and chase down a bespectacled hero and try and murder him and kind of get your flirt on with Voldemort. That's a bit... So, like, there's a bunch of stuff there. We've also got some sort of more out there things. We've got Frankenstein's sister/wife. The doctor, not the monster.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. For a second there, I was like, hold up.
The wife of the guy who shot JF Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lady Jane Grey, and one of Wallace and Gromit's love interests.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's phenomenal.
so this life jumps around all over the place.
There's a lot of love interest in here, isn't there?
Yeah, fair.
She can't settle down. She's a busy woman.
Well, difficult life to have, right? Like, I'm trying to work out if, because there's a bunch of, like, sort of nobles... Oh, she's also Miss Havisham.
Yeah.
Have you missed something? She's managed to pull this off while being an ape.
Oh, is she... Is this one I've missed?
I just looked at the list, and she is one of the ape ladies in Planet of the Apes.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, wow, I missed
Oh,
that.
my
She's
word.
also the fairy godmother in the new Cinderella remake.
Wow.
That might have been my way. I was potentially going to tie it all together. We'll see.
Look, this is so impressive. Like, I've managed to make my way through high society despite having been an ape
The whole time.
But the thing about that, right, because she's in Harry Potter,
Oh, she's also a witch.
well, the weird turn into animal magic is real
Oh.
in that. Magic is real.
Yep.
Kind of ties everything together by default in a weird way.
It does.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make it less unbelievable, though?
Except she's not like a full ape. She's a person-y ape.
A person-y ape.
She's like a more human-y ape.
Well, maybe she just like kind of fucked up the polyjuice potion or whatever, you know.
Is she a Planet of the Apes in the more modern ones where they look like apes, or the old ones? 2001. Yeah, no, they look more like apes there.
I just googled, and she looks like a person with an ape face.
Oh.
Interesting.
She very much has normal human hair.
Also, just to go on a slightly different angle, just to add another genre into this amazing woman's life, she is Skynet at some point in the Terminator franchise.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh.
Or the face that Skynet chooses to communicate through.
Is it one of the ones that they're not sure is canon or not yet?
Probably.
I think every film puts and unputs certain other films in the Terminator film out of canon.
I think so, yeah.
Everything's canon in this universe. Spin me a tale.
So we go through enough genres here that it kind of goes all over the place. But because we've got multiple things where, like, Miss Havisham's of high society, the Queen Mother, the Red Queen, and so on, and Lady Jane Grey, you have a build-up through different levels of, like, nobility and monarchy, where you can have her, like, rise up the ranks and then eventually become the Red Queen, have it all go to her head, and then have her fall down into... I don't know where this ends, crap.
This makes a lot of sense because one of the earlier in timepieces is she plays Mademoiselle Thénardier, who I've just butchered in Les Mis.
Yeah, I know she's in Les Mis. I haven't seen it, so I can't reference, but yeah.
She's like the adoptive mother and an innkeeper in that.
On the revolution side or on the...
No.
Oh.
Well, she's a peasant, but she's also like one of the comedic villains in it. So, yeah. She's not a very good adoptive mother.
Oh, so you can have her like rise up to the monarchy and then have a fall of grace into being a peasant who still supports the system.
Is that how she ends up romancing Wallace?
Yes.
Because that was the one I was struggling to fit in, to be honest, out of all of them.
Although, isn't she like a highfalutin lady in that?
Yeah.
It's in the Were-Rabbit.
Were-Rabbit she's fancy, right?
Yeah.
Right,
So
you're
that's
right.
on the that's on the
And
rise.
she just knows not the boundaries of class.
And we even have an end point potentially for this life with a tragic suicide in Ophelia from Hamlet. So she finally, truly finds someone that she wants to be with. And when Hamlet goes off the deep end and goes mad, we've got the end of our story.
But didn't she already die in Sweeney Todd?
And also in The Corpse Bride. I haven't mentioned The Corpse Bride. She is the Corpse Bride.
She does come back.
Well, this is why she's the sister of Frankenstein, and Frankenstein can bring her back multiple times.
Yeah. Was the Corpse Bride always dead, though? Because isn't it the lead man is the one who dies and goes to the dead zone?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that Helena Bonham Carter was a Bruce Willis the whole time as well?
Yes, multiple times.
Oh, that's why I mixed it up. It wasn't Winona Ryder, it was Helena Bonham Carter.
If all of our actors end up being Bruce Willis the whole time, it's going to be very entertaining to me.
So one thing I've noticed, I've just looked at the filmography, and on this list,
There's a lot.
there is a film from 1991 which does not have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
It's called Brown Bear's Wedding, and she plays the voice of White Bear, and I need to know what this is about because I didn't know she was going to be at a wedding. I didn't know I had a wedding. I didn't know if is it fictional? It's not fictional anymore. So am I married? I mean, was I married when I was 2?
But are you Brown Bear or are you just Bear?
Yes.
Good answer.
It's a TV film, so we're going to discount it.
Okay. Phew.
But it's an adaptation of a children's book.
Because that was going to be a lot of chaos for my life, which obviously I love, but...
You were nearly one of Helena Bonham Carter's many romance partners.
Also, there might be a good start point because her earliest role, which I've seen, is called A Room with a View, where she's a highfalutin lady, but like an actually younger one.
Okay.
Like before she gains her rise to nobility and being queen mother, and then I guess actually the connection between her being the queen mother and the Red Queen implies that in this universe the king dies, and rather than Elizabeth II coming onto the throne, she becomes the Red Queen and takes over herself.
Oh, like this isn't even my final form.
And so the story of the remake of Alice in Wonderland is actually they have to overthrow the Red Queen to get the rightful queen, Queen Elizabeth II, back onto the throne, represented in the film as the White Queen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of works, yeah.
Is there such a thing as a rightful queen?
I kind of like the story of she starts off like a fairly innocuous, just a regular person.
Yeah, a bunch of things where she's a regular person. Yeah.
Learns magic in order to rise up through the ranks.
Oh, you put Bellatrix in there.
Yeah, put Bellatrix in straight away. Uses that to gain access to high society, eventually become a member of royalty, live the high life for a little while, realise that it's not all about the power, and actually love is what she wants to pursue, and then that ties in the remainder of the
and
film.
then you fit all the other loved ones
Using
in.
magic to change form or stay young as relevant,
Yep,
and
I like it.
yeah, eventually finds love in death, I guess, with Corpse Bride.
Of course, right. Yep.
Can I finish this off wonderfully?
Okay, yeah.
One of her final films that hasn't been released yet, but is on the TBA list, is called One Life. So,
Oh,
It just perfectly lines up with what we're doing.
yeah.
It's all D&D One Life.
it's all a video game reference.
Actually, thinking about it, using Bellatrix's magic to tie things together, seeing as she's also the fairy godmother, surely the fairy godmother is when she decides to use her magic for good, and Bellatrix is when she decides to use her magic for herself.
Does she start good or start evil? Which way around do you reckon she flips?
I don't know. Maybe this is part of the fall down, like start good and then you decide to use it for evil to get yourself into royalty, and then you can have the fall from grace.
See, I was going that way around because she dies in a couple of films.
In a lot of films.
And that's often an evil kind of magic is aiming for immortality, is generally perceived as. So I think it makes more sense to start good, flip to evil
Yeah.
during the pursuit of either romance or power. or immortality. Delete as relevant.
Yeah.
She's also in Fight Club, but I haven't seen that, so who knows?
Yeah, it's a good film. Some people say.
No, we got to follow the first rule of Fight Club in this podcast.
Yeah. I know nothing about One Life or what it's supposed to be, but just from the title, I'm assuming that it's the tragic tale of someone who gets banned from Second Life and all of their friends are still on it.
No, it's a biopic of Helena Bonham Carter's One Life.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to continue our trend of the Edward Scissorhands tie-in.
Okay, Scissorhands.
In a different life, Edward Scissorhands used his scissors hands as a sword and became a pirate, where he, I guess, kind of adopted into his pirate crew two young individuals, one of whom used to be a highfalutin lady.
Ah.
I'm talking about Keira Knightley, who in a lot of films is a highfalutin fancy lady looking for love. At some point, gets bored of that lifestyle, becomes a pirate, goes off and does some piratey things for a while, and also is a space princess and can bend it like Beckham. I'm not quite sure where those fit into this narrative, to be honest.
She's a space princess's double, right? Rather than the space princess herself.
Oh, right.
Now, can she bend it like Beckham, or just she a friend of someone who can bend it like Beckham?
Do you know what? I'm going to have to look at the plot.
Is she the lead? Quick, check.
No, I don't think she is the lead.
You're right. I think she is the friend of the person who can bend it like Beckham, which is still a relatively convincing claim to fame.
She can friend it like Beckham.
To be fair, yeah, knowing someone who can bend it like Beckham.
Yeah, can any of you guys bend it like Beckham? No, that's why we're not famous. That's why I'm not famous.
That's quite a bend. Don't tell Mark Rosewater about it.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, so, you're also going... You put all of the time she's been high society or royalty or whatever early on. Then...
Yeah, she pursues love as a highfalutin lady, in the 2000s, in the 90s, in the 1790s. You know, she gets
around in time.
Does travel through time a bit. I don't know when Pride and Prejudice is set.
Well, Pirates of the Caribbean is the perfect thing because she starts as the high society lady and ends up among the pirates, even Pirate Queen, right? She does get voted in Pirate Queen in one of the later movies.
Yeah. As a prank.
Yeah, it's an epic prank by Edward Scissorhands.
Everyone's like, we all just vote for ourselves, and then Jack Sparrow is all like, I'm gonna vote for someone else.
Got them. What a prank.
Got him.
So what other nonsense has Keira Knightley got up to in her life?
I want to know if you have planned on bringing this in, Eddie, because I've just looked at this list, and the fact that Keira Knightley's life is all real means that at some point a kid was sent to space so he could fart the world to safety.
What?
Thunderpants. She's part of Thunderpants.
She's in Thunderpants.
And a kid has to get sent to space to save the world because he can fart real good.
Who is she in Thunderpants?
Just some kid. Just some kid at school or something.
Oh, okay.
She was also in Never Let Me Go, which means that the reason she was born is to be an organ donor. So that's always fun.
That is always fun.
She's in a film called Begin Again, so maybe that's just part of the making life make sense. She's like, I'll be a highfalutin lady for a while. No, I'm going to begin again. I'm going to be a pirate this time. No, I'm going to begin again.
It just keeps happening.
I don't know the plot of Begin Again. I've just read the title.
That's all you need to do.
Also, similarly about not knowing the plot and just reading the title, I see a film called Charlotte, and I assume that's a gritty reboot of Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But she's also in a film called Steve.
Actually, no, she must have started life as Guinevere, because that's obviously the first thing that happened in English history, is King Arthur.
That version is a retelling of the Arthurian story where Arthur is a Roman general in the time where Rome was leaving Britain.
Excuse me?
Yes. And she is a Celtic tribes person, or like a Briton, a local who is around in that time. And so when you say at the beginning, you mean quite far back. However, she was a space princess a long time ago.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, in a galaxy far, far away.
Far away, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if she was just a space princess's double, then she's, it's a big universe. FTL exists in that galaxy, so maybe she just got zoomed over to this galaxy and the spaceship left her on a planet or whatever. And
travelling at relativistic speeds, messed up time, who knows?
Which space princess was she?
She's Natalie Portman's double.
Not Amidala.
Yeah.
As in, do you mean the fake space princess?
She is the fake space princess. She was like a...
Well, queen. The title was queen.
She's like a servant girl or something. I forget the specifics.
Yeah. She's the stand-in who is the decoy for Padme.
Yeah, I forget why they need to do that.
Safety.
Well, she gets assassinated in the next movie.
Does she now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amidala gets assassinated and it turns out that it is Keira Knightley the decoy.
Right, so I guess I have to put that at the end of the time, so one of her earliest film appearances has to be her last.
Yes.
Interesting.
Wait, but does she not get to come back to life like all the other people?
Yeah, she's a Force ghost for the rest of it.
Don't know how often she dies in these things.
Well, that's what we've got to try and make sense of. Is Pirates of the Caribbean set in the afterlife? Some of it is.
No, because they go to it, but she doesn't die.
Is Bend It Like Beckham a story about death? Was she Bruce Willis the whole time?
No, wait. I need to answer your previous question.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Isn't all of Pirates of the Caribbean just set in Sea of Thieves?
Kinda.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, the whole boundary is like, you're stuck in the Sea of Thieves, you gotta do the Sea of Thieves, you keep coming back.
That is true.
If you're bad, you become a skeleton, and that happens in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Now, I know we're not including other forms of media, but strictly speaking, if Pirates of the Caribbean is real life, so is Sea of Thieves, because Pirates of the Caribbean is in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, fair point.
Thank goodness that Doctor Who isn't available, because otherwise EVE Online would be real.
Oh, God.
Let's keep on movies.
I just don't know how Bend It Like Beckham fits in, basically.
Yeah, fair.
She has a friend who has a hobby.
I keep forgetting she's not Beckham. Well, not Beckham.
It's like, how does Bend It Like Beckham fit in?
She has a friend who is good at football.
I can't do things and also have a friend, says Eddie.
Yeah, right? You can't be a servant space princess stand-in and also have a friend.
You mentioned about being part of high society and so on with, well, you didn't mention it by name, but she was in Pride and Prejudice quite famously. So that one, she is marrying upwards in station.
Yes.
That allows you to build up.
Oh, is that how she gets into high society?
Well, she starts in kind of there
Middle society.
and moves up to a higher one, and so
Yeah.
you can have a similar thing to I had with Helena.
You're right, then she just divorces Darcy or whichever one of the sisters she is, and is in high society.
And becomes Queen of Naboo.
Yeah. That's
And
it.
again, just looking at this list, so there's a couple other films that, I mean, she becomes the Queen of Pirates.
Yeah.
Also Princess of Thieves, that's a film on this list.
Oh, nice.
But she also seems to end up in the hole.
The one hole.
If you were looking in the hole, you might expect, but you would not find Shia LaBeouf.
This is true. This is true. I'm not sure how it's relevant to Keira Knightley's life, but...
You going with
Well,
that?
because Keira Knightley's in the hole.
Oh, and like with Helena was a fairy during Cinderella, Keira Knightley, fairy in The Nutcracker.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Like,
They did like a modern reboot of like trying to make The Nutcracker a high fantasy thing.
Does she gain access to magic as a result?
Pretty much. And
Shit.
also she does know some space wizards.
Magic makes so much things make sense.
And speaking of fairies, wasn't Tim Curry in a fairy movie?
To sponsor this episode, get in touch on social media or insert business email here. Gee Willikers, Batman, do I have some news for you? We've got a Patreon. At the moment, it's just a way to send us a few dollary dues every month to help us continue to make all of the things we do, but we do plan to add rewards to it in the future when we have a bit more scope for that. At the moment, all our earnings are going towards equipment upgrades and server costs, but we've got quite a lot of ideas on the back burner that we'd love to try out with a bit more support. Obviously, take care of yourselves first and make sure that all your needs are met before you even consider giving us any of your hard-earned cash. We don't currently have any plans to put any of our content behind a paywall. This is entirely optional. We're over at patreon.com/hexagon, and I'll put links to all our stuff in the show notes as usual. Now that that's said and done, let's get back to the fun.
So, we were just talking about Captain Jack Black, right? I mean...
Captain Jack Black Sparrow. Which actor are you bringing to the table? I've got to guess.
I'm going to bring a guy who canonically can no longer see that people are fat.
Okay.
I know of that movie, I don't know anything about it.
I mean, that's the plot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shallow Hal is about Jack Black, not Jack Black in a cameo, but Jack Black's character
Himself, yep.
is like really shallow, and he meets this hypnosis person who's like, you can't do hypnosis, and I'm really shallow. And he doesn't want to change, but he treats some people badly. And then the hypnosis person is like, well...
Curses him like a witch.
Yeah, I'm gonna witch curse you to see everyone as very attractive. You're gonna see people's inner beauty, I think.
Okay, that's nice.
I guess is more like a witch witch curse than just hypnosis.
It's a witch blessing more than a witch curse, but I like it.
Well, then Jack Black falls in love with a fat lady.
Lovely.
And that's the whole joke.
Yeah, that's the whole joke.
Right.
Hilarious.
I love Hollywood.
Good work, 2001.
But no, Jack Black also sees some other people as very ugly.
Right.
Because that's important. Remember, if you're bad, you should be ugly.
Thanks, Hollywood.
The whole of this movie is addressing the fact that even though fairy tales tell us that if you're good, you look good, sometimes that's not true, and it should be.
Okay.
But then no, and at the end, the guy removes the ability, and Jack Black accidentally lets something slip and has to go make up for it because he realizes what's important.
Okay, he does learn his lesson then.
So is that the starting point for where you're jumping off the rest of his life?
I think during the course of this whole adventure, Jack Black just cannot tell how heavy people are.
Oh, right. So he gets cursed at the start of his life,
Yeah.
and all the other ones happen in the space of a few weeks.
No, this is great because given how surprisingly athletic Jack Black is, that makes a lot of sense that he doesn't know, how chunky a lad he is most of the time.
Yeah, he doesn't know what his body is. But also it makes sense why he's dealing with all of these aliens and stuff and just never recognizes it. He's just like, oh yeah, this is normal. It's like, hey, I'm dealing with all these... my wall just fell on me.
I might leave that in, Benny.
Jack Black heard me. Like, no, my secrets.
No, don't tell them.
Is this also why Jack Black can't recognise that it's a bunch of anthropomorphic animals talking to him for much of his life?
Well, he is also an anthropomorphic animal.
That he also can't realise.
No, yeah, I guess that's pretty good.
It's just like, all of these animals who are doing kung fu, they're all just people that I can see the inner beauty of.
It also explains why he doesn't realize he's teaching a class of kids and behaves inappropriately the whole time.
Oh no. Oh, Jack Black.
The good thing as well is apparently he's been in the never-ending story, so he can do this forever. He's going to have the craziest time because it just keeps on going.
Oh, that's convenient.
Oh, his story is not allowed to
Sorry,
end.
the never-ending story in 3, so it's proof that it can't end. If you're at 3 movies, it'll never end.
I do have a question, however.
Yes.
The problem is, for one movie, he plays himself?
Yeah.
Well, how does that not make sense?
It's Jack Black.
I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense, but it's just like no other person we've come across at some point is themselves.
Yeah, but Jack Black makes sense as Jack Black in all the situations.
Yeah, okay. No, you got me.
If you would expect someone to be in all of these things, fighting off Martians, he goes to an island because he wants to see the biggest gorilla?
It's true.
Yeah, he also goes to an island to find a lot of little people.
Sorry, do you mean he actually plays a character called Jack Black at some point? He plays Jack Black in a movie at some point? Or
It's
do
called
you
Tenacious
mean
D, the
Jack
Pick of
Black is
Destiny.
just Jack Black in every dang movie? No, he's Jables.
Yeah, no, he is JB, Jack Black.
I think we might be giving him too much power because he has played in the course of 2 years the owner of YouPorn and prolific children's author R.L. Stein.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, he's the writer of Goosebumps. It's great.
In this universe, he owns YouPorn.
My word.
And he's also Paul McCartney.
Alright, sponsors just got a little bit harder to get for this episode.
If we're gonna pick him, we have to pick him now before he rules a kingdom of reptiles and breathes fire.
That's a good point, yes.
Why would we pick him before that? That sounds like an excellent thing to add.
Because danger.
That would make less sense, and that is the question.
Because he doesn't realize how big he is and he's gonna jump into our arms.
Wait a second. You mentioned the King Kong Island, and so he goes on some travels. He meets all the little people of the land of like Lilliput or whatever, and then he eventually gets to Kong Island and gets stuck there.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't realize that he's so much bigger than them all, which is why it's so hilarious.
I was wondering exactly that, actually.
Jack Black also stars himself in the Muppets.
Yeah,
Yep.
he cannot find an octagon, so all we need to do is give him a quest to find an
But
octagon.
that's not the film, right? That's the TV show.
That is the TV show.
You've broken the rules. We don't talk about octagons on this podcast.
He is a video game character.
No,
as
end
well.
the episode. Don't.
Alright, end the episode. Sorry, I won't bring up my point.
Yeah.
He is also a video game character in the new Jumanji films.
Well, he's a board game character, right?
They updated to a video game in the modern Jumanji films.
And they get body swap.
Which actually makes too much sense with Super Mario Bros. If he becomes a video game character at some point, the new Mario movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might make a bit too much sense.
It does all make sense. But can we just talk a little bit about obviously the most important contributing movie to this whole thing is, of course, Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Anchorman where he kicks a dog off a bridge.
Because here is the thing about Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny, right? You're asking for films that, if they were real, it would be wild. That film is wild, and it's also real. It's based on the true story of Tenacious D forming a band, fighting the devil, and finding magic items that let them fucking rock!
It is based in the real world, that is true.
It's a true story. And it means that, like, Pick of Destiny is out there, dude. It means we can sing and explode people's
No, the
heads.
Pick of Destiny is no longer out there, because at the end of the film, it refuses the devil and they break his horn instead.
It's a bong. It's the bong of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can get hypocritically high.
And then rock.
And then rock, yeah.
With a lot of mine, I made sure I looked at like animated movies and stuff, so I had a quick look for Jack Black. I know we've covered being a kung fu panda.
Yep.
However, he's also in Shark Tale as a vegetarian shark, which is just a cool concept. I don't know where that fits in. I guess that's when he's off traveling the Gulliver thing, and when he's off going to Kong Island for a while, he falls into the water and is a vegetarian shark.
Look, if all of this stuff is real, we know for a fact that he gets high quite a lot while having real adventures.
So you're saying that getting high is magic?
Kind of.
I'm saying that if he gets high, he can become a shark for real.
Oh, and this is how he inspires all his writings as R.L. Stein.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all the nonsense he's had in his life. He settles down near the end and starts writing the Goosebumps series.
Yeah, actually, there has been a lot of historical nonsense as well, because he played a saber-toothed tiger in Ice Age.
Oh, yeah.
He's been around for a long time, or he's had a lot of time travel. And the final point is, I think there are a couple of things that Jack Black being in this position would make. One, something that this world needs is for the mythical figure of Jack Black to really exist. And so if Jack Black's movies were real, then Jack Black would be real.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And two, Waterworld. We lose against global warming, we flood the whole world, and we get to go swimming.
Again, though, we're focusing mostly on Jack Black's story rather than what Waterworld means for the world.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to happen anyway. It's just...
Yeah,
true.
The fact that Jack Black is there means we know that that's how it's happening, right? That was one of possible futures, has all been narrowed down.
Yeah, that's true. And then it makes sense that he becomes a shark at some point.
And we also get invaded by Mars.
Yeah.
But who is Jack Black in that?
Jack Black is played by a character called...
Danny DeVito. I know Danny DeVito is in it, so presumably Danny DeVito played Jack Black, so Jack Black can play someone else.
You'll be pleased to know that Danny DeVito's role in Mars Attacks is Rude Gambler. This is his official character name.
Speaking of Danny DeVito, just a quick aside. Danny DeVito is in one of the My Little Pony movies, and he plays something called the Grindel King, I think.
He is a Grindel King.
Sorry, the Grundle King. And it is the most Danny DeVito thing I've ever seen. I had to Google image search this earlier, and amongst like the top few results, there are a bunch of Grundle Kings, and it's exactly what you would expect. And then just a few images down was a picture of Danny DeVito dressed as a troll from Always Sunny.
Oh, that is shockingly accurate.
A bit of an aside, but something I could not help but share with you all.
I mean, there are so many actors out there, we might have to do this question again.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do TV at some point,
Yeah.
because Jack Black was Beethoven in a TV episode.
Please, it's Beethoven, dude.
Right. I think we haven't been talking about the Burton Scissorverse enough for Bear's last one, so I'm just going to
Bring us back.
go back into the mess of things of those actors who are all connected to each other. Notably, I don't think in Scissors specifically, but in some of the ones we've already talked about. You see, another one of my favourite actors plays multiple roles across multiple movies we've already mentioned. In actual fact, I think that over the course of their lives, Helena Bonham Carter and this guy would probably become good friends. Also, I have to make a sort of a nice little call out to all the Snape wives in the audience, because they might love that, because I'm bringing Alan Rickman.
Oh.
Now, probably most famous role, Snape. I'll get that out of the way.
The only thing I really know that Alan Rickman in was the Potter Puppet Pals, and that wasn't even it.
There are plenty of people that would argue his most famous role is Hans Gruber in Die Hard, but...
Well, that's a good point, because you've got the whole gamut, I believe, here. There are some historical characters. There are some like Victorian era pieces. There is some magical world stuff. There's at least one animated role.
There's a love movie in there.
He's in Love Actually.
There's a biblically accurate angel.
Yep, he's Metatron, I believe. Is it Metatron that he plays?
Yes.
Yeah, he plays Metatron, who is Enoch, who has gone to heaven and been turned into an angel by God.
Wait,
and
what?
works as like God's scribe.
Yeah,
All right, then.
that makes sense.
He's also one of the love interests in a different Jane Austen adaptation. He's not in Pride and Prejudice. He's in Sense and Sensibility as the love interest of the sister of the main character. We mentioned earlier Sweeney Todd. He's Judge Turpin in Sweeney Todd. There's a lot of villainous roles. I'm not going to lie. Both my characters can play good villains, and I like that.
Yeah.
He's also in Help I'm a Fish. He's the villain who turns them all into fishes, right?
Wait, what? What's Help I'm a Fish?
In Help I'm a Fish. It's a story about a bunch of kids get turned into fish, which is the evil villain's plan, and he wants to steal some power from them.
Yeah, great villain.
I've seen he dies in such like a quiet, painful way. He's like so greedy stealing the power, and the main character, like Bart Simpson kid hero, is just like, ha, you take all this power, it's gonna make you human. And it's like, yes, I'm going to become human and to get all this stuff. And he's like, but you know what humans can't do? He's just like,
Not breathe underwater.
and he just suffocates and drifts in complete silence, drifts into the darkness on the screen.
Oh my word, that's devastating.
Okay, well, that's a good ending point.
Yeah, that's how he dies, with no music, no fanfare, just drifts off the screen. It's like a horribly traumatic scene, just like Neverending Story, where like just brutal for a kids' movie.
That is devastating.
Wow, I was not expecting this to end up there.
I have an explanation of this.
Okay.
He has spent 576 billion years, like, collectively, as Marvin the Paranoid Android.
Yes, he is the voice of the
wow.
film version of Marvin, my favourite Hitchhiker's character.
Of course he is.
And he nails it. Like, I'm not sure what I think about the design of the Marvin in that movie, but he nails the voice and character of Marvin. It is amazing. And by that I mean he is Marvin, and Marvin is real, and I get to hang out with Marvin now, yes.
That's a film. I remember going to see that film in the cinema, and I remember literally nothing of it.
Fair, that's understandable.
Apart from the song, the Thanks for All the Fish song at the beginning, I remember.
Yeah, that's well done.
I remember what Marvin looks like, and that is it.
There's a towel in it, there's some mice in it.
I remember being very disappointed as a big fan.
I can get him to space to become Marvin because there's a fun comedy Star Trek spoof called Galaxy Quest.
Yes!
But it's based in the real world like this, where they were actors in a Star Trek-like thing, and he was the Spock equivalent.
Yeah.
And then the aliens show up and recruit them because they think they're
Oh, I see.
the characters from the thing and take them to space, and they have to do the same thing. So I can get Alan Rickman from some earlier roles in Sense and Sensibility to space to become Marvin.
Wow.
Yeah, a bunch of aliens are watching our broadcasts
Yes.
and think that they are real life things.
Yeah.
So they come and like take the people from a sci-fi convention. So they're all in costume and ready to do it. And they're like, come and save our world like you've done so many countless other times in these documentaries because we don't have fiction.
Yes. It's great, and it connects in the sort of more grounded stuff into these more wild out there in space things.
No, yeah, absolutely. And it also means Tim Allen is real. So I'm not sure if that grunt is copyrighted.
And I don't know how we get back down to like the magic and that stuff, but also there's another role that sort of puts another sort of corner in the wild space that is Alan Rickman's life, which is a caterpillar that really likes getting high in Alice in Wonderland.
I was going to say that is the explanation for anything else.
We're doing the Jack Black thing. We're getting high.
Oh my god, that's a crossover with Jack Black. They're all real.
He's got magic and he's got getting high to explain away anything that doesn't make sense.
Maybe Alan Rickman is Jack Black just during one of his trips.
Yeah, that would make more sense the other way around.
Well, either way.
Also, I just have to call this out. It's more normal and less wild than some of the other ones, but Sheriff of Nottingham he gets to be hot while doing this. Let's just put it that way.
I do like to be hot.
I just like the sort of corners of it is like Hans Gruber, Snape, Galaxy Quest, Metatron, Marvin. It's just like the sort of the extremes.
He's been quite a few things.
There's a lot of other ones, but this sort of shows you the extremes of his life and what he's bounced between.
Just remember, though, if all of this stuff is real, then Snape is real. And even though we like Alan Rickman, Snape is a piece of shit.
I was going to say, even worse than Snape, Ronald Reagan is real.
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry. Ronald Reagan is also in my list. I forgot to cover that. Whoops. Yes.
Now, so just to be clear, is the Ronald Reagan film, is that meant to be... It's a historical film. It's trying to be about real things.
I'm not entirely sure. I read a quick synopsis of it before starting the recording, and... I don't know. It follows like a person who worked at the White House through a bunch of different presidents.
Yeah, because at least it's not like, if you made The Simpsons real, then like Ronald Reagan's still alive, and that's the bad thing. But like, just making Alan Rickman real means, okay, Ronald Reagan existed, but he already existed, so we're not losing anything.
Yeah, I guess he just took a sort of left turn into being the president of the United States for a few years and then decided to ruin the world and then move on to something else.
I'd say a right turn, really.
Man, imagine if all of Ronald Reagan's movies had been real instead. If all of Ronald Reagan movies had been real, America might not be the way it is today, and we can only dream.
Might have been invaded a few times. By aliens, I mean.
Oh, I would like to bring this up, and I'm sorry for not including you, Bear, but Alan Rickman gets to be called at one point in his life Ed, another point in his life Ed. Sorry, I said Ed. Damn it.
Ed twice. Nice.
So, Alan Rickman, at multiple times through his life, goes by a few different pseudonyms, including Ed, Jamie, and Alex. I'm sorry, Bear, but the rest of us have name partners in Alan Rickman.
He spent his animal film on a fish rather than a bear.
I'm looking through these names, I'm trying to find it.
Well, his Absalom, I think you can slur that into like Absam.
Sam?
Absalom, Sam the Caterpillar.
Sam the Caterpillar, yes. Maybe Judge Turpin's first name is Samuel. I don't know.
Maybe Ronald Reagan's first name is Sam.
He doesn't need to be. I mean, the audience doesn't even know I'm a Sam. Like, the whole thing is just Bear, right? Like, this is the biggest, out of all the jokes I love to make that don't make sense to the audience, you just saying there's no Sam here is the wildest one. Oh my, I scrolled down a bit too far and got to a theatre.
Oh, he's got some very good theatre.
He's Farquharson, and I didn't realise Farquharson was a theatre character from Shakespeare and not just like a joke on Farquaad.
It could be both.
If you're allowed to do theatre, which we're not going to go into too much, he does get a bunch of Shakespearean roles on Sherlock Holmes and Achilles. But anyway, I don't think theatre adds more to the space that he occupies. I think the extremes of the movies.
He does go through a lot of different things, but as you said, he does cover magic and getting high and also being an actor, so like there are ways to tie a lot of these together.
Oh, and at some point he's the King of France.
Oh, well, that's just standard. If you go to space, you become the King of France.
Who isn't the King of France at some point?
Who hasn't been the King of
we've
France?
all been there.
They got 16 Louis.
He's the 14th of them.
Isn't that what the song Louis Louis is about?
Just France in general. Also, another actor who has played himself, and therefore that makes Alan Rickman real, and that makes me happy and sad because he's passed, but I'm glad he was with us.
What a good lad.
I don't know how he got away with all this after being a terrorist, but you know.
You know, it happens. People change.
I blame magic.
He also goes through the dies several times treatment.
Yes.
He was also Bruce Willis the whole time.
Yes, he was also Bruce Willis the whole time. Yep.
He was a British government official and therefore had diplomatic immunity while doing terrorism in America.
Genius.
Or he was the King of France and therefore just pardoned himself.
Yep, there you go.
Or he's an angel. Anyway.
Yes.
All right, let's bring it home with the last actor that I've got, who has also been Bruce Willis the whole time, but I'm not sure how yet. Okay, so I'm gonna weave you a little tale here. I'm gonna take the role of trying to make this make sense, and we'll see where it falls apart. So imagine, if you will, a young man who's lived his whole life thinking that something's not been quite right, like he's living a lie or something. People are lying to him, things aren't working out. And he discovers that is the case at some point and escapes from this world and makes that into the real world. But then, as a result of having been living in this fake life for so long, isn't particularly smart, doesn't know how the world works. Thankfully, he finds a friend who's similar to him, like, I don't know, shared an experience or comes across in the same way, and they start a business together. They're both big fans of animals, but at some point they have a bit of a tenuous relationship. They end up going their separate ways, but he continues with his love of animals, really loves that career, continues down that animal-based path, but at some point thinks, I could be more, I could be better, I've not learned anything. So he gets a corporate job, he becomes a bit of an inventor. He invents this wondrous media device that like has incredible marketing potential but gets brushed aside by the CEO of the company, has a bit of a chip on his shoulder about it. Ends up having to spend a bit of time, a bit of alone time, let's call it.
Winky face.
Finds God during that alone time. Decides to straighten his life out. He's going to be more positive. He's going to be more honest. But that evil marketing thing still resides within him, and he finds this mystical artifact that kind of ends up with a bit of a split personality during the process, torn between wanting to do wrong and wanting to be good.
I'm just enjoying guessing what you're going to say next, because I know who you're doing.
Yeah.
And again, takes some time away, and these personalities kind of meld together a bit, and he decides he's going to steal Christmas.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Of course.
I thought you said he was going to kill a hedgehog. I do not know where you're going anymore.
Oh no, that was what I meant to include that in my story.
Yeah, you forgot to include the hedgehog!
You're right, I meant to fit that in before the find God part of things, because he discovers there's a way of unlimited power.
Oh.
Yeah, and what about him being a creepy stalker and a lawyer?
I have no idea about the creepy stalker line. Maybe he does that during his corporate days. But yeah, you're right. During his invention era, discovers that there's unlimited power to be gained, gets defeated by a weird blue hedgehog, and then goes on to find God, spends some alone time, and ends up stealing Christmas. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is Jim Carrey. I've done your work for you, but I don't think it holds up to scrutiny.
No. Also, I want to fit in. Yeah, I want to fit in the Riddler somehow.
The Riddler is actually, he does the corporate adventures. He invents the media device. That's the Riddler.
Oh, that's the media device, and then he becomes. Oh, okay. I forgot how the
Riddler invents a thing that projects TV into people's brains. Apparently.
Yeah. Oh, wait, doesn't the cable guy actually make sense as a prelude to the Riddler?
Oh, it probably would, yeah.
Because the cable guy, he understands all the machines. He maybe doesn't actually work for the company. It's always a mystery who he is, but he's trying to become friends with people, stalking people, being creepy, but also understanding the machines and helping people out. And then it all doesn't work out. He becomes the Riddler.
And after he's stolen Christmas, he becomes a well-known, grumpy, anti-Christmas hater called Ebenezer Scrooge, who then eventually learns to like Christmas again.
Oh, yeah, so he gets rich, and then he loses his fortune, and then he realizes his,
Oh, and then you have to try and steal it for some kids.
Yeah, his nephews and nieces or whatever. He is related to them, isn't he?
Yeah, he's their uncle, right?
Yeah, he's their evil uncle.
Something like that, yeah.
And he wants their fortune.
He's a count as well. He's a count. So while being rich, he becomes a British noble.
Yeah.
And then gives it all up and then actually says, wait, I need that back. Being kind wasn't the answer. I need to kill my...
He does flip-flop from good to evil several times.
I need to marry my niece.
Do you want me to do a quick run-through of that narrative I just spun?
Yeah, fair.
Because obviously he starts as the Truman Show because that starts at birth for him.
Yeah.
And then at some point he escapes the Truman Show but doesn't know anything about the world. We enter the world of Dumb and Dumber, finds, I forget the actor's name, finds his mate, starts an animal business.
Which is Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, yeah.
After they split, they actually have a dog grooming business in Dumb and Dumber.
Ah, right.
That's how you connect them, yeah, that's great.
That's how you start with the animal, splits off from there into Ace Ventura, decides that he's not been smart enough, that's where we're going to tie in the cable guy, and eventually he learns enough to become the Riddler, invents that thing, goes a bit crazy because he gets brushed off so quickly, finds God or Sonic the Hedgehog at some point, who may be God. That's a niche reference though. Yeah, so that's the bit where he becomes the Riddler during at some point during the learning about the world, becoming smarter, becoming a corporate entity. Apparently during that film, part of the device ends up he learns from everyone. He can read minds and just absorb knowledge. It's absolute nonsense. But that explains how he becomes the smartest man in the world and discovers that a blue hedgehog is the source to infinite power.
Oh, you mean Mr. Eggman?
Mr. Eggman! Oh yeah, I forgot that the first time round.
Mr., please. He has a PhD.
Dr. Eggman. You're right. Dr. Cobintor, I believe.
I mean, sorry, his name's Jim Carrey. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true.
Jim Eggman Carrey.
Dr. Jim Eggman Carrey.
I don't know if in the film they bother giving him the Kintobor background.
I don't think they do, no.
I think he might just be Robotnik all along.
He is just Robotnik, yeah.
Yeah. Be funny if that's a flashback in the Sonic 3. They're one time he got merged with an egg.
I forgot that was... Sorry, I forgot that
is Dr. Robotnik's backstory.
Ooh.
Were Jim Carrey real? All of the Sonic nerds would be like, you're not correct. You're not Robotnik enough. You don't have the right Robotnik backstory. He's just like, I don't know what to tell you. This is just my life.
And he would just dab on the haters because the films love doing weird, modern, cool for the kids things with Robotnik for some reason.
I think the problem with the kids-accessible family version of the Sonic movie was they didn't go into enough detail describing all of the backstory and lore of every Sonic character.
Just to finish off the list of movies, the story. So yeah, after he gets defeated by a blue hedgehog, he spends some time alone, finds God in Bruce Almighty, changes his ways, decides to be more honest, liar, and more positive, yes man.
Yeah.
But gets dragged back in by an evil artifact in the mask. Bit of a split personality thing.
Oh, I thought you were doing it like an artifact leading into Sonic. That's what I was waiting for you to get us to Sonic. Of like,
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I just missed Sonic. Sonic was like, I'm definitely going to get Sonic in. I don't need it on this list. And I missed it because I didn't write it on my list. But yeah, the Mask and Jim Carrey himself end up merging together, becoming the Grinch, the green creature who wants to steal Christmas.
And then Scrooge.
And then eventually Scrooge, and then whatever else you mentioned. He becomes Lemony Snicket at some point. Not Lemony Snicket, that's the author.
Also, he was Andy Kaufman, the famous comedian, the whole time.
He lives such a wild life of some, like, down-to-earth basic dudes, and some just, like, the Mask turns up at some point.
Yeah, something just goes wrong and turns him into a... I mean, a lot of villains have that as their story, right?
Yeah, Dr. Eggman.
Yeah.
Just to sort of add to the nonsense, I bet it's connected to animals and also some of the animated things we mentioned in the past. He's also an elephant at one point.
He's an elephant?
Called Horton.
Oh!
Yeah, he's in Horton Hears a Who as Horton.
He hears some Who's. And the Who's are also the people he steals Christmas from, aren't they? The Who's of Whoville?
Yes.
So he is an elephant who hears them and then shrinks himself down and becomes green.
And then it's like, Christmas, huh? I'll take that.
As an elephant, he's like, I'll never forget these fuckers. I'm gonna steal Christmas from them.
Oh no, he only hears them around Christmas, and he's really lonely because all of his Christmas plans got cancelled, and he had to work through it. And he just keeps hearing in his ear all of these people having a great Christmas time and just taunting him. So he's like, I'm gonna get my revenge. I'm gonna end their Christmas.
I think that there's a simpler explanation, and it's the mask.
The mask does connect a lot of this thing. If you start by gaining the mask, you can do a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting to me. As we were talking through some of them, a lot of them had magic, and I was like, I don't think Jim Carrey encounters magic at any point directly.
Well, Loki's mask.
Well, the mask is obviously baffling.
Yeah.
Bruce Almighty.
Oh, true, he does encounter God, I forgot, yeah.
A Christmas Carol, the magic of Christmas.
Those powers are given to him and taken away from him over the course of being Bruce Almighty.
Okay. Well, no, wait, it's all inside the Truman Show. They just decide to, because the viewership is getting down, they decide to make it more wild.
He never actually escapes.
That's true.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he thinks he escapes, and it was
At
just
the end
like...
of the film, we see him leave, but actually it was just another dome.
Yeah.
Larger dome.
But actually, it was just like, it was the Truman Show universes beyond.
It's alright, if they were good enough, they'd bring him back into the Truman Show universe within.
I haven't seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but I know it's a lot more like...
It's not a comedy in the way that...
Exactly. It's the reason I'm bringing it up, it's extremely different to a lot of the things we've talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Truman Show's a really interesting start point because it's such a, like, not down to earth, but, you know, it's a very serious film.
Yeah.
I like finding what the sort of extremes in different directions of like sincerity to nonsense, because that's where you find out sort of how wild this is.
He leans towards nonsense.
Yes.
He's good at acting nonsense, but like he's just good at acting as well.
He likes making funny faces.
He is good. He got a very expressive face. Is Me, Myself and Irene a split personality thing as well, a la The Mask? Because based on the poster alone, it does look a bit like that.
Yes, there's a famous scene where he beats himself up, and it cuts to the scene from other people's perspectives, and it is one guy. I don't remember if he views it as like literally having a fight with himself, but I'm pretty sure it cuts to a scene which is just him like strangling himself with his tie and punching himself in the face and flying around the place.
That's pretty funny.
That also makes sense if someone's gone through all of these different parts of their life, that eventually they might struggle to sort of bring those different versions of themselves back together.
Yeah.
It's kind of a downer ending to life that's seen the heights of Eggman and God.
He wasn't God.
He got to be God for like a bit.
He got
right?
he got given some of God's powers for like a week or however
Yeah.
long it was.
To see what he did with them, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Morgan Freeman shows up like, you're complaining too much, have my powers to see how tough it is. Like, what?
But literally,
I should complain more, apparently.
Part of him using the powers, he goes to Steve Carell, the anchor on the news, and he says, "I'm gonna make you, Steve Carell, do silly Jim Carrey sounds for about a minute."
Yep, yeah, he does, doesn't he?
It's a very Jim Carrey thing to
I
do.
feel like it'd be way easier to do that, like get back at that guy as the Mask. But I guess God too.
I guess, like, if the film Bruce Almighty actually takes longer than the film shows, he could just use his god powers to reenact all of these films, so maybe it does make sense that way.
Oh, yeah. That's the point. It all happens within the space of time that he has the God powers for.
And if God is omnipotent as they truly claim, he can just go back in time and be like, alright, I've had my fun for 20 years as a weird film, doing all these weird films, I'll just rewind back that 20 years, so it's only been a week.
No, it's all in the Truman Show. Everything he thinks he's doing as a god power is just like a stage.
Oh, that's
They've just got special
that's
effects.
such a funny explanation, it's so good.
Just all fits within the dome within a dome.
I like that. It's like, that's a sad ending, but it's not as sad an ending as just realizing your ambitions have betrayed you and drifting off silently to the darkness, suffocating to death. Which is what happened to Alan Rickman.
I often think about the ending to the Truman. Well, I often think about the Truman Show in general. It's a,
That's a good film.
but like fitting all these. I just like the idea that go like, right, like we need to get viewers back, so we're gonna add in Loki's mask. What do you mean Loki's mask? That's not a real mythological. We'll make it up. It's fine.
Literally, they see the success of like Marvel, and they're like, "We need some superhero stuff. Let's bust him into a new."
He's in the Kick-Ass sequel. I don't know what he does, but he's in the Kick-Ass sequel.
Kicks ass, presumably.
No, it's not. It's literally Disney just bought the Truman Show, and now they're bringing Star Wars into it.
Oh no, the worst timeline. Oh, it could be in Kingdom Hearts though. The best timeline.
Yeah, in Kingdom Hearts, you realize it's all a video game.
The question being, how long until Sonic joins Kingdom Hearts? He got into Smash.
Several of these could be in Kingdom Hearts. Sonic, The Mask, Grinch, Batman, I reckon could all fit quite nicely into Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, isn't the whole point of the Kingdom Hearts episode that anything can fit into Kingdom Hearts?
Yes.
Trivially.
Yeah, true. I mean, weirdly, The Truman Show would actually make some of the least sense for that episode.
It's all data or something. Anyway, that's not as much as I'd love to stay on Kingdom Hearts forever, and I will. I think that I need to somehow judge this.
Please.
With that, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
In case I don't see ya.
And that's the end of the episode.
That is the end of the. I mean, I didn't really give a criteria apart from what's the best. So
So what is the best?
Which
What
one?
is the best? We are asking you.
No, which one made the least sense was the question, but like they all make just about as much sense as each other, so good luck.
yeah.
That's the thing. People who are in movies are in enough movies that there's something in one of their movies that can tie it together.
Whoa, that's the premise of this episode. Sure.
We needed to pick a smaller actor that's been in like 2 films.
We need someone, who's just been like a one-hit wonder, one really big movie.
I'm going to give it to Alan Rickman though.
Yes.
I think that he's just his range.
Suddenly, the world becomes a lot more evil.
Hey, I brought villains. I'm doing my thing.
Jamie brought villains.
Do love a good villain.
And we get to have the Sheriff of Nottingham. Just that look through life. Just bonus.
History's 2 greatest villains, the Sheriff of Nottingham and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Alright, just ignore Hans Gruber again. I see how it is.
Well done, Jamie. Nice work.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie, congratulations. You have won a cardboard cutout of Alan Rickman's face, so you now can be in the Alan Rickman cinematic universe.
You can be the Sheriff of Nottingham. Hey.
I can be the Sheriff of Nottingham. I can be Snape and be a universal interdimensional being.
Just put it up on your wall on the green screen so that whenever you're on like stream and cutting out the space behind
Alan
you, there's
Rickman's
just Alan
face
Rickman's
floats.
face floating around.
Thanks for listening. If you want to keep up to date with everything we do, your best bet is to follow us on social media. We're at Hexagorgon on Twitter, and we're Hexagorgon FB, no spaces, on Facebook. And if you'd like to support us financially, you could either donate to our Ko-Fi, which is Hexagorgon, or subscribe to us on Twitch if that's more your speed, which is Hexagorgon Live. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Well, you'll see us. Well, not see exactly. You get the idea.
My third guy starred in the movie Cloud Atlas, which alone makes their life
Very fun, yeah.
confusing, because that movie it's like story in like 6 different time periods from like
Yeah, Cloud Atlas is
like
weird.
1400 to like far in the future post-apocalypse, and all the actors in every time bit play different characters in each of the time period.
Isn't Jerry in Cloud Atlas?
Who's Jerry?
Jerry
Seinfeld.
from Rick and Morty. No, Jerry from Rick and Morty. Jerry Smith.
I thought you were talking about Jerry Seinfeld too.
Jerry Smith is the lead actor in Cloud Atlas.
That's funny because my brain went Smith. No, wait, that's Rick and Morty. You must mean Jerry Seinfeld.
No, because there's the episode where they get to see their life in an alternate dimension. And Dad, you were the star of Cloud Atlas?